Okay. All stand, please. Call this meeting to order. It is 4:13 p.m. We will have a silent moment of prayer. And immediately after, we'll have the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Convening the Douglas County Commission, sitting as the Floodplain Appeals Board, is the appellant present?
Is that us? We're present.
State your name, please.
My name is Mariana Barham, and I'm a representative of the Douglas County Watershed Association.
Okay, thank you. Is the appellant present?
The appellant is present, Mr. Chairman.
State your name.
Larry Rector with Steptoe & Johnson, along with Jason Foster with Steptoe & Johnson to represent Markwest.
Thank you.
Commissioner Samuel.
I'm sorry to be putting you out like this, but I would like to, I'm representing the Douglas County Watershed Association, so if possible to appear on their behalf via Skype, I would love to do so. If it's going to be an inconvenience to your commission, then perhaps we should look into another option. But if you can hear me, I can hear you all. I would love to have a chance to represent my clients at this hearing.
Yes, sir.
My name is David Richardson. I know the commissioner is familiar with me.
Yes.
Attorney license in the state of West Virginia. Unfortunately, in California at the moment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Gregory Robinson. I am one of the appeals board, sitting as the judge for the appeals board, and I own mineral interests, approximately 21 or 22 parcels. I have a 1/32 interest in that, and it represents probably 600 to 700 acres, net acres. But I have no financial arrangement with Markwest, so I feel that I can sit as an appeals judge and render an impartial decision.
My name is Shirley Williams, and I have 3 EQT leases and 2 Antera leases, and I don't have no direct interest to the Markwest plant. I believe I can be an unbiased on my decisions to judge for the floodplain.
Okay. Move forward with your burden of production to prove you are an agreed entity under the ordinance.
Mr. Richardson, could you hear that?
No, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, the president has requested that the appellant, the Douglas County Watershed Association, move forward with its burden of production to produce proof that it is an aggrieved entity under the August 2013 floodplain ordinance. So he has requested that your group come forward with evidence to prove your standing with respect to the current floodplain ordinance.
Okay, I am at a bit of a disadvantage in that I was in the process of printing off the ordinance when the meeting began, and one would think at this point I would have enough copies of the ordinance lying around to have it. So if you could bear with me for 15 seconds while I grab that.
Mr. Richardson, would it help and save time if I read to you the definition that was approved in August of 2013 as an amendment to the floodplain ordinance?
No, that would be fine. Thank you.
Okay, let me read it. It's it is in Article 2, Section 2.1, or excuse me, 2.2, A3. And it reads, with respect to Article 8, Roman numeral 8, herein, an aggrieved person or entity is a floodplain permit applicant or a person or entity that has timely objected to an application for floodplain permit, and a surface or mineral owner where the development is proposed in the floodplain, comma, and adjacent property owner or resident where the development is proposed in the floodplain, comma, and or property owners or residents of or on land adversely affected by flooding projections for the proposed development or construction in the floodplain area.
Okay. I guess my first question is, the county contending that the notice was not timely? Notice of appeal on behalf of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
No, that's not what the president of the Floodplain Appeals Board is requesting.
Okay. So
He is requesting that you move forward with your burden of production to prove that your entity that filed this appeal is an aggrieved entity under the ordinance definition.
Sure. And I apologize. The first part of that definition reference timely. Now, as for the standing of the Doddridge County Watershed Association, they are representatives. They have members who are living in close proximity to the site, who the same water source, streams, creeks, run through their property as does the site. By failing to delineate the floodway as required, we don't know what the impact will be.
Okay, Mr. Richardson, you're making a proffer, an oral statement proffer. Do you have witnesses present that can go forward with live testimony on the issue of whether or not your entity is an aggrieved entity under the ordinance?
Mariana Duran can testify as to the location of the members of the association in relation to the project. And when it comes to the agreed party standard, I understand the floodway doesn't apply in that situation.
Well, I would suggest that the president is asking you to move forward by calling witnesses to prove your legal standing.
We were going to do this. There's no clear procedure in the ordinance, but my first witness will be Mariana Duran. Ms. Duran.
Yes, David.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn in. You swear to me.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Could you please state your name for the record?
My name is Mariana Barham.
Are you a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Yes, I am.
And what is your membership role in that association?
My membership role in that association is to participate in the activities that we have, attend meetings, and also to assist county residents that have issues dealing with our waterways.
Okay, and are there any members of your association who live nearby the project at issue in this appeal?
Yes, there is one member that is present that lives within a half a mile of the project that's at issue here.
And does that member's property share the same creeks as the creeks that are at the project location at issue in this appeal?
Yes, that member's, the creeks running through the property that this member lives on does share the same creeks that the project location is on. The creek that they live on actually empties into Buckeye Creek, which is where the project location is.
Okay, and how close is their property line to the project location?
The property line to the project location is really very, very close. Their dwelling and location close to the creek that they live by is probably within a couple of 100 feet. The actual property boundaries are within maybe 50 or 100 feet. I have a tax map that shows the location of the property that the members live on, and I also have that I can...
I'm sorry, may I enter that tax record in as Exhibit A? For the appellate? You have the tax record with you, your tax map with you?
Yes, I do. I have the tax map with me.
The applicants would like to see the record before it's entered as an exhibit. Sorry to interrupt. We'd like to see it before it's entered as an exhibit.
Is it marked so that the location of the members of the Watershed Association that we're discussing, their property is, you can find it on the map?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have to find the map. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm back.
Okay. You'll come up back in a second here. We don't have you, but this advertisement will go off.
Again, I apologize for the inconvenience.
We're still waiting on Mariana.
Well, I thought it was in here. Let me keep looking. I apologize.
Can we stipulate that you believe what she's saying?
No, the appellee is not so stipulated.
I've seen the building.
And in fact, the appellee would like to have the identity of his property owner who has not been named at this point in the proceeding.
The name of the watershed member that lives close to that property is Laura Price, and Miss Price is in the room, and she owns the property with her husband, whose name is Glenn Long. I can't seem to find it.
That's okay, we'll call Laura Price.
Laura.
Well, wait a minute. Let's try to do this in a more orderly fashion. Mr. Richardson, are you finished with Ms. Barham as a witness?
As a whole, or just as to the offer of proof?
No, as it relates to the issue pending of legal standing.
Yes, I'm through.
Okay, I'm not limiting your right to call her in later proceedings depending on the decision here. Has the exhibit...
I would like to ask her one question. Final question.
Move forward.
Sure. Ms. Wood, did you submit an appeal on behalf of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Yes, I submitted an appeal on behalf of the Doddridge County Watershed Association.
And did said appeal refer to the floodway?
Mr. Richardson, we could not hear the question you just asked.
Did the appeal that you filed refer to the floodway at all?
To be honest with you, I can't remember the exact wording of the appeal.
Okay. Well, the county has the appeal. I'm sure I'm fine.
Yes, they do.
Do you have a copy with you?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to refresh your recollection?
Yes, I would.
Excellent. Please, at your leisure.
The appeal does mention the floodway in it. Would you like me to read the statement?
As to the floodway only, yes, please.
Okay. Our reasons for filing this appeal are as follows. We feel that allowing storage of temporary fill in the floodway will adversely affect the health of our watershed.
Okay.
And then, I'm not
right?
done. And B states the hydraulic studies done state that this will be temporary stockpiles of soil in the floodway. The Doddridge County Floodplain Ordinance addresses this issue in Article 4, Section 4.1, and also on page 28 through 30, Part E, related to fill. And then also, Part E, alternation of the floodway will increase the volume and velocity of the water as it heads downstream during flood events. The possibility of water backing up is also high, which will affect residents living upstream.
Is that the extent of the floodway references?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Excuse the witness.
Okay, cross-examination of Ms. Byrne.
Thank you very much. Ma'am, you have the bylaws for the Doddridge County Water Association with you?
The bylaws. No, actually, I do not.
Do any exist? Officer, please. Would you,
I know
Mr.
that.
President, would you please direct this gentleman not answer the questions that are directed to the witnesses?
What?
They exist. I just do not have a copy of them.
Ma'am, is it an incorporated association?
An incorporated association? What do you mean?
Is it on file with the Secretary of State?
I'm not really sure.
You don't know.
No, I don't.
Are you an officer in this organization?
No, I'm not.
Do you have a membership list for this organization?
Yes, we do.
Where is it?
With our elected officials.
Who are they? Who are your elected officials?
Wayne Woods is the president of our organization. Linda Ireland is the secretary. I think that's it.
So you do not have an officer's position in this organization?
No, I don't.
And yet you claim to be the one to file this on behalf of the association. So do you have a resolution with me here today?
Objection. That's 3 or 4 questions there.
Do you have a resolution authorizing you to file this appeal on behalf of this organization?
If by resolution, do you mean if I had the, if I was doing it with the approval of our organization, not only the heads of our organization, but also the membership, yes, I had the approval to do so.
And do you have anything that you can provide to this body to establish your authority in filing this appeal?
What exactly would you consider I would need other than my word, if I'm sworn in, to state that the membership at one of our meetings discussed it, we all agreed, and I was chosen as the person to do it?
Do you have minutes of such a meeting?
Yes, we probably do. I, however, do not have the minutes.
Ma'am, did you sign the appeal?
The appeal was signed as the Doddridge County Watershed Association.
Ma'am, did you sign the appeal?
I signed the appeal as the Doddridge County Watershed Association.
Ma'am, in fact, you looked at the appeal and responded to my question. It, in fact, is not signed by any person, is it?
Well, maybe perhaps I should state this, okay? Since, you know, you have the rhetoric and you have the law degree. I'm just, you know, retired old lady that's concerned and interested about what's going on in my neighborhood.
I'm moving to strike. The witness is trying to make a speech rather than to answer the questions that are directed to the witness.
Well, what is the question? I honestly don't know what the question is.
I don't know what the question was because,
Okay.
I'm sorry, he was making a statement.
Okay.
Ma'am, did you sign this application for the appeal?
I did not sign it with my signature. No, I did not.
And in fact, no person signed this appeal, did they?
I guess not.
So this appeal was, how was it submitted to the commission?
It was mailed by certified mail to the county commission with a signed registered receipt, and also the same manner was used to mail it to Markwest, and a signed registered receipt was delivered. I received it in turn. And also a proof of mailing was sent to the county commission and also to Markwest.
Ma'am, you have identified, I believe, Laura Price as a member who you believe has standing as a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any other members that you are now offering before this body that you contend has standing to pursue an appeal in this matter?
I would present myself as a member that has standing to do this appeal.
Tell me, please, ma'am, why you believe you meet that definition of an aggrieved person.
Well, perhaps I meet that definition because for the last 2 years in the spring, I have participated and walked in Buckeye Creek to help clean up the trash that floats downstream in it from the Markwest plant and from other areas. I've participated in the stream cleanups 2 years in a row. I also happen to utilize the Rails to Trails that runs along the property that's being affected. I believe it's the Denny Powell property.
Ma'am, do you own property in the area?
Do I own property in the
Yes,
area?
ma'am.
I own property in Doddridge County.
Do you own property in the impacted area?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you own any mineral interest in that area?
No, I do not.
So your testimony, the extent of your testimony for your personal standing is that you have participated in street cleanups and you have walked through the trails.
I think that's enough.
Ma'am, the Doddridge County Watershed Association, does it have any articles of incorporation?
I don't know if I can answer that. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to answer that.
Okay. Is there any documentation that establishes that this is a legal entity? Does it have a federal employee identification number for this entity?
Well, I think something that might establish it as an entity is we have a fiscal agent that acts for us, and that would be the West Fork Conservation District.
Has this entity filed tax returns?
I'm not really sure.
Do you know if it's incorporated as a 501c3? Please.
Oh, are you saying, wait a minute. Are you
I would
asking?
ask that only the witness be permitted to answer. The witness is the only person who's under oath at this time.
All right, question.
Excuse me. Everybody refrain from answering the questions, only the witness, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The West Fork Conservation District is a recognized entity. They are, and they're acting as our fiscal agent.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I need to cut you off.
So you're good at it.
Ma'am, I'm trying to give you every courtesy.
Okay.
My question is, does the Doddridge County Watershed Association exist as a nonprofit organization?
We exist as a nonprofit organization. Yes, we exist as a nonprofit organization.
Has the Doddridge County Watershed Association filed a nonprofit tax return?
No, I don't believe we have, but I really am not the person qualified to answer that.
I have no further questions at this time. I will reserve questioning on the merits if we get to the next.
Thank you, sir.
So reserved. Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, do you have any further witnesses you intend to proffer for this part of the proceeding?
Well, since Wayne Woods is there, and he is the president of said association, I'd like to call him.
Okay. Mr. Wood, where's Mr. Woods? Okay, you have to be sworn in, sir.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Proceed, you can go ahead. He's been sworn.
Good afternoon, Mr. First of all, can you say your name for the record?
My name is Wayne Woods.
Are you a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Yes.
What is your role in said association?
I am the president of the organization.
How did you become the president of the organization?
I was elected.
How often do you have elections at the association?
We've had one election since the incursion of the group in
And how long have you been in existence?
2010.
2010. And how often do you meet?
Monthly, once a month.
Is there a specific date you meet?
We meet the third Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock
And where at?
at the Doddridge County Senior Center here in West Union.
Do any representatives of West Virginia DEP ever come to your meetings?
Yes.
Which representatives?
Markwest, the Save Our Streams liaison for the DEP, was at our last meeting. John King, also with the DEP.
My apologies, that's the fighter jet.
Okay.
We thought you were taking off.
Sorry. Live near an Air Force base.
John King, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
John King is an environmental advocate for the DEP, has also been to a meeting.
And when these DEP personnel come to your meetings, what do they do?
They discuss to the group different environmental factors. We talk about stream quality, different procedures on how to report any environmental problems to the DEP.
Okay. And do any other governmental bodies send representatives to your meetings besides DEP?
The West Virginia Department of Natural Resources has sent Janet Clayton. We've had her as she's a stream biologist with the DNR. She specializes in mussels in the streams here in Doddridge County. We've also had our County Commissioner, Mr. Sandor, has attended a meeting.
Excellent. And why do these governmental entities come to your meetings? Do you know?
We are a group that is interested in environmental issues in the county, and we partnership with these folks to try to do environmental advocacy and stream cleanups, coordinate stream cleanups, water testing, different things of that nature.
Why, do you know why the Doddridge County Watershed Association was formed originally?
We were concerned with a lot of the water quality issue. Well, there was a spill that had happened on Buckeye Creek, and there was a member there that lived along Buckeye Creek that had put an ad in the paper, and was just asking folks in the area if they had any concerns, and if they would like to meet, perhaps we could start a group to kind of do some environmental advocacy for the county and try to keep the streams clean. So that's basically how the group formed.
Okay, and is Buckeye Creek located on the Markwest project site?
Yes.
Or does it run through it?
It runs through there, yes.
Okay. Did your group previously submit any appeals as to any of the other floodplain permits for Markwest in this particular project?
No.
Okay. This is the first appeal.
For this project, yeah. For this project, yes, this is the first appeal.
Okay. And did, oh, I don't want to get in trouble here. Hang on. Give me just half a second. Are you familiar with where Laura Price lives?
I personally am not familiar with where she lives, no.
Okay, it was worth a shot. Do you know what the definition of an entity is?
Yes.
What do you think an entity is?
It's a group. It's a
okay.
It's just a group of collected things or individuals that form a group.
Does your association, do you consider it to be an entity?
Yes.
Okay. Does this association have a common goal?
Yes.
A common purpose?
Yes, we do.
Do you get together and spend time dedicated to these goals and purposes?
Yes, we do.
And since the association was founded, has there ever been a month where there wasn't a meeting?
1 month.
And how long ago was it that the association was founded?
In October of 2010.
So for almost 4 years, you've met once a month and
Yes.
only missed one meeting.
Correct.
Okay. I'm good.
Cross-examination of Mr. Woods.
Thank you. Mr. Woods, you say you're president of this association,
Yes.
and that there's only been one president since its founding?
Correct.
And Mr. Woods asked some of the same questions that I asked of the previous witness, and that is there articles of incorporation for this association?
Yes.
Okay. Are they on file with the West Virginia Secretary of State?
No.
Did you bring the articles of association here today?
No.
Did you understand in coming today that your organization would bear the burden of proof and persuasion to prove that it was a free person or entity eligible to bring this appeal?
Correct.
You were aware of that? But you brought no documentary proof to support your claims that you're an aggrieved person or entity. Is that true?
Yes.
Mr. Woods, are there any minutes that are maintained of every one of these monthly meetings that you've had since October 2002?
Yes.
And who keeps those minutes?
Either I or the secretary,
And who's the secretary?
Miss Linda Ireland.
Is there a recorder?
No.
Miss Ireland doesn't live in Douglas County, does she?
As far as I know, she
Does
does.
she live in Salem?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know where she lives then?
Correct.
Is this organization filed tax returns as a nonprofit organization?
No.
Does this organization have a federal employer identification number?
Yes.
Okay. So you have documentary proof of this?
At this location?
Yeah.
No.
Does this organization have a bank account in its own name?
No.
Did you bring any resolution or other official documents of the Douglas County Water Cement Association that allowed for this appeal to be filed, that authorized its filing?
Can you repeat that?
Did you bring with you today any documentary record or other evidence, knowing that you bore the burden of proof and persuasion here today? Did you bring any documentary record establishing that the Douglas County Watershed Association authorized the following this?
I personally know.
And who are the members of this association who are personally liable for the debts and liabilities of this organization? And please give me their names individually.
The debts and liabilities.
Yes, sir. As an association, you said it's an entity with a common purpose. Which people stand behind this organization for its liabilities and its obligations?
Wayne Woods.
Anyone else?
Yes. I don't have a membership list here. I'm sure if we could.
Okay, but just to be clear, you are under oath, and you've stated that you, sir, Wayne Woods, are personally liable for the debts and obligations of this association. Is that true? I just want to make sure the record is clear.
Yes.
Now, does this organization have a written mission statement?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's written in our. I don't know, Mary.
Did you bring any?
I personally did not bring it down.
Did you bring any documentation of any type to meet your burden of proof and persuasion, sir?
No.
Sir, do you own any mineral, are you a mineral owner and interest holder in this subject area?
No.
And are you an adjacent property owner in the subject area?
No.
And do you own any land in the floodplain?
Do I repeat the
Do
question?
you own any land in the floodplain, sir?
In the floodplain?
Subject to this pertinent
No.
application? And what specifically does the DCWA do? What specific activities does it engage in?
We do a lot. We've conducted stream cleanups for the past 4 years, cleaning up the area around Buckeye Creek and Middle Island Creek, McElroy Creek. We've held public meetings with DEP representatives trying to inform the public on different activities that could be detrimental to the environment. And I also mentioned before, we've had a public meeting with Janet Clayton from the West Virginia DNR, and she came to talk to our group and invited guests about the mussel population that is endangered in Buckeye Creek. We've also held public showings of films. Gasland, we've shown that film at the Doddridge County High School. We are in partnership with West Fork Conservation District, and we've implemented rain gauges in the county to alert county ODS director, and just as a general information for the county residents, how much rainfall we get in particular regions of Doddridge County. We had collected donations for a group called Aurora Lights that was assisting in the help during the Charleston spill when the Elk River was contaminated and the 300,000 people down there were without water. We contributed baby formula, water. We put out advertisement in the paper for residents to come to the fire hall here in West Union and donate these items. We transported those to Clarksburg, where they were taken to Charleston. We have attended, different members have attended different meetings throughout the state on water quality. We've attended Water and Wellness, a meeting that's put on by the Ohio Valley Environmental Council. I myself and one other member was also took part in the coordination of that event that took place last year in Buchanan. We have we also consider we have a Facebook page, and we put information about water withdrawals, and many people get on the site to see if there's water withdrawals taking place in the county, because a lot of this information is not available to people. So we like to advocate that information. We also have put that information in the local paper. I mean, I guess I could go on.
Does the Doddridge County Watershed Association own any property?
No.
Does the Doddridge County Watershed Association have any assets of any kind?
Yes.
What are its assets?
Its assets are conductivity meters to read stream when the streams are poisoned by the gas companies. We can often tell what the conductivity is. It gives an electrical conductivity. We have 15 of those. We have nets for collecting samples of macroinvertebrates that can tell us about stream health. We I think that's really all that we have are conductivity meters and sample nets. We also have a video that is part of the groups that is it's a video about how to recognize macroinvertebrates, if you're familiar with that.
Does the Doddridge County Watershed Association collect membership dues?
No.
Does it issue membership cards?
No.
How is it, did it accept membership applications?
No.
How are members determined by the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Attending a meeting and asking if they would like to be a member, and they become a member.
Attending a meeting qualifies as a member. Is that right?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. Richardson, of Mr. Woods?
When the governmental entities or representatives come to visit with the association, do they address you as an association or as a collection of people, individually by name? Do they come to visit just you, or do they come to see the group?
They come to
Objection, the foundation.
Okay. When, say, for example, DEP comes to the meetings you were talking about earlier, are they there to visit Mr. Woods or the association?
the association.
And when these stream cleanups you were talking about are done, is that Mr. Woods doing it, or is it the association?
Is the association doing it?
Why is the association, well, first of all, is the association worried about the impact from the Markwest project?
Yes.
Why?
We feel that that there will be a change in elevation of the floodplain, which could affect local residents, and we also know that there's a large amount of sediment that is going into the stream from the activities taking place there, and we're concerned about that because the group does have a concern with the mussel population in the stream, as well as any other aquatic life that could indicate, a healthy stream, macroinvertebrates up through the food chain in the stream to the muskellunge.
And how did the group discover the sediment issue?
It was in the. They have a stormwater permit, and it was also listed in the Army Corps of Engineers report on that.
Have more than one member of the association looked at the various filings related to this floodplain project?
Yes.
Has it been a group effort in reviewing the various filings?
Yes.
Is it? Oh, when you were talking, going back to the invertebrate, how did the group become involved in invertebrates and worry about mussels?
We worked with the state, and part of the Save Our Streams initiative for the state is you determine stream quality and stream health through the study of macroinvertebrates, the small midges, stoneflies, mayflies, things like that. When you look at that and determine the number and the health of those, it gives you an indication of overall stream health, and so that's how we wanted to go about initially, testing the Buckeye Creek.
So a state representative gave you this info?
Yes.
Did the state representative give this info to Mr. Woods or to the association?
I'm going to object. We now have proceeded beyond the scope I understand this limited initial inquiry to be, which is the standing of this association to proceed as an appellant. I believe now that the examination has moved from that to a merits examination, and accordingly I would move to strike the last statements as related to the substantive merits of the appeal rather than the threshold issue, which I think this commission must decide as an initial jurisdictional matter whether or not this entity has standing.
Well, of course, the fighter jet's coming out. Sorry. One second. Part of the issue of whether they're standing is whether it's a group of people or if it's an entity. And considering the floodplain ordinance doesn't define entity, it is relevant if they are a group who are organized and recognized by a state representative to do a duty, to do a project beyond sitting around twiddling their thumbs, bemoaning the state of Doddridge County.
Mr. Richardson, I think that you have proven that point if that was your intent by the testimony that's been given already. I.e., we're just trying to move you forward here.
Sure.
I think you've proven that.
I'm done with the witness.
Okay. Mr. Wood, is it Wood or Woods?
Woods, W-O-O-D-S.
Mr. Woods, as counsel for the Floodplain Appeals Board, I have a few questions for you. You did not bring your bylaws of the Doddridge County Watershed Association to the meeting tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay. With respect to the bylaws, do the bylaws define the requirements to be a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Okay. I believe it was your testimony that to be a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association, you merely needed to attend one meeting and I assume voice an interest in being a member.
Correct.
Is there any other requirement to being a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Attend the meetings, you know.
Yeah. For example, yeah, I'll give you a couple examples. Do you have to be a resident of Doddridge County?
No.
So you can be a non-resident and still a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
We have a member that is currently not a resident, was a resident, is not a resident anymore. So I can't. I'm not. You know, I can't. They're still. We consider them a member.
Is there a requirement that you own property in Doddridge County?
No.
Or mineral interests in Doddridge County?
No.
Is there any requirement that you participate in paying taxes in Doddridge County or anything like that?
No.
In relationship, I assume that you know where the Markwest project is located?
Yes, I do.
And do you know upon whose property the project exists?
I believe it's Powell.
Mr. and Mrs. Powell own the property?
As far as I know, the person that owned or owns the land was named Powell. I don't know if there's a Mr. or a Mrs.
Do you believe that the Markwest project wholly exists on property owned by one person or one family?
I haven't really. Repeat the question again.
Do you believe that the Markwest project exists as it's going to be developed on property owned by one person or one family? That is to say that the ownership interest is in one person or one family versus multiple persons and multiple families.
Honestly, I tell you, I really haven't thought about that.
Yeah. Have you been out to the project site?
Yes.
And how would you best describe the location of the project site?
I would describe it as off of Buckeye Creek.
Could you better, I've never been there, so could you better define it for me as, can you give me any monument and distance from monument to where the project exists?
The project entrance is off of Morgan's Run. It goes one way. If you're proceeding, we'll go from here. If you're proceeding eastbound on Route 50, you would turn on Smithton Road, I believe, which would be old Route 50. You would proceed to the bottom of the hill approximately 400 yards, and you would turn left. You would proceed, so you have, as you're proceeding to the east, you would have Route 50 on your left and Buckeye Creek on your right. You would go approximately 0.4 miles, and you would cross a bridge that goes over Buckeye Creek. There is an entrance gate to the left there. There's usually a guard or something there, and but the project extends. You're basically there in the project area when you cross the bridge.
Yeah. Do you know who the adjacent property owners are to the Powell property where the Markwest project is located?
No.
Okay. You testified that Laura Price is a member of your Doddridge County Watershed Association?
No, I did not.
Okay. Is she a member?
Yes.
Do you know where she owns property in Doddridge County?
Correct.
Do you know where she owns property in Doddridge County?
It's upstream from Buckeye Creek. A long run out that direction. I can't define it.
Can you give me an approximate? Have you ever measured it, either on a map or on some sort of aerial drawing or anything of that sort?
No.
Okay. What's your best estimate of the distance of the outer edge of the Markwest project to Laura Price's owned property in Doddridge County?
Excuse us, our lawyer isn't on there anymore, and I
Yeah,
don't think
I think we should stop here.
You have to keep track of your own lawyer as to whether he's in the room or not. I'm not proficient in Skype activity. Can we get him back
I don't
on?
have one of them used to have it, but now I'm being lawyers. I don't have to do it with lawyers or something like that.
Your Wi-Fi's off. Yeah. You need to turn your Wi-Fi.
Thank you.
Wi-Fi.
It says connected.
Probably disconnected.
That's a hearing code.
Can we have a recess until we get this resolved?
Well, let's get a result. I only have a couple of questions, I think. I don't know if there's going to be any other witnesses, but we can take a recess at the end of this stage.
I would also like to ask that, I'm calling Mr. Richardson, but I would also like to ask that some folks put their cell phones away as opposed to passing messages back and forth. Hello, David? Wayne's trying to get you connected again.
No internet access.
We're waiting until we have you connected. I know. I do know.
Beth, does the internet shut off here?
He's working on it. Are you connected on your end? Okay. He said he's connected on his end.
Does the internet go out here and say that you are connected?
Yeah, it seems the Wi-Fi's up and the internet's down.
The internet's down?
Well, yeah, it said it shuts off at 5 o'clock, and you still have Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi's not connected to the internet. Somebody has to reboot it up.
We need to roll up the screens at 5 o'clock.
Conferencing capabilities here in the room, could we at least do phone call?
Apparently, they shut the Wi-Fi and the internet down at 5 o'clock here in the courthouse. And, yeah, so they're gonna try to get a speakerphone. What's your telephone number, David?
She just hit her cell phone speaker.
4514. Okay, they're gonna. We hope so. Okay, thank you.
Do we have a teleconference? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that then. Can you give Ralph the number to David?
Sure.
What we're going to do is call him on his telephone, put him on speakerphone, and that's the best we can do. Well, hopefully it'll be, what he says will be recorded.
Sorry, Ralph.
Yes, this is Commissioner Sandor. We want to put you on speaker. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, you want to speak.
Okay, go ahead and hang up. David? David, can you hear me? David, can you...
Mr. Phillips, I can hear you fine. I just like to apologize to the group. I don't know what the deal is with the internet, but...
No problem. I think it's on our end. I think that the internet, according to those present, shuts down at 5 o'clock here at the courthouse. So apparently that's the reason we lost you on Skype. If you can hear us, and I'll just ask everyone to keep their voice up because it does also need to be recorded. And David, if you would keep your voice up so it can be recorded also. I'll ask what I think was the last question, that I asked, and I did not notice that the Skype had gone down during my questioning. Let me ask you, David, do you recall the last question that I asked the witness, Mr. Woods?
Let's see, you were going along the lines of, how to pay taxes to be members?
Okay.
Through a bunch of different potential factors.
Okay, well I'll back up another question. I think after I asked that question, I asked Mr. Woods if he knew whether Laura Price owned property immediately adjacent to the Powell property, which evidently is the property where the Markwest project exists. And his response to that was what, Mr. Woods?
Does she own property adjacent to the Powell property?
Immediately adjacent. That'd be next to the Powell property.
I can't say for sure about that.
Okay. And Mr. Woods, have you or your organization, the Doddridge County Watershed Association, brought forward any expert report or engineering report or hydrology report or hydraulic report that would indicate that Markwest's project would rise to any degree the property owned by your member Laura Price?
No.
Okay, I have no further questions then. Thank you.
I would like to...
well, you're done with your testimony at this point. Are there any other witnesses to be called by the Doddridge County Watershed Association on the issue of legal standing?
Does Doddridge County have a person who's knowledgeable as to the floodplain ordinance?
Well, you know, Mr. Richardson, I know you can't see the room, and in all fairness, I will represent to you that the Doddridge County Floodplain Administrator is present in the room.
Okay, I have a couple of very brief questions for him then, if possible.
Okay, his name is Mr. Reston. Reston?
Okay, could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Reston?
Yeah, let me do it this way. I'll just ask the witness to state his full name and spell his last.
Certainly, my name is Edwin, E-D-W-I-N, last name Riston, W-R-I-S-T-O-N.
Oh, okay, I got you. Thank you.
Go ahead and swear this witness
Raise
in.
your right hand, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Riston?
Sir.
Did I put your name or did I get it right?
Yes, sir.
I apologize. I'm from Oklahoma, so my accent's kind of messed up at times. How long have you been the Doddridge County Floodplain Administrator?
Just a few months.
Okay. Are you familiar with the use of the word entity in the Doddridge County Floodplain Ordinance?
I am in regards to its definition within the appeals process, yes.
Okay. What do you think entity means? Or do you know what it is? I'm sorry.
I do not have a legal opinion as to the definition of entity.
Okay. You have a non-legal opinion. Do you have an opinion as the Doddridge County Floodplain Administrator?
No.
Is that a no?
That is a no.
Okay, thanks. Are you familiar with the requirements in the ordinance for new developments in approximated zones that are larger, the development's larger than 2 acres, that the flood
Objection. I think this question goes beyond the scope of our initial inquiry of standing and gets into the merits.
No, it goes to the greed.
Mr. Richardson, explain to me how this fits within the legal standing question.
Sure, okay, so to be standing, we need to be an agreed party, correct?
Correct.
And one of the definitions is they have to be adversely affected.
Correct.
Well, the definition of adversely affected specifically states that it doesn't apply to floodway. Now, how it doesn't apply to floodway, that's another question. But if there hasn't been a floodway study done as required, then I would suggest that, I am suggesting that the watershed association members who live mere hundreds of feet away from the project and share the same streams and creeks with the project without standing.
Overruled. Overruled.
Okay.
Go forward.
Okay. I just got, sorry, let me for 1 second. I have to shift from all the questions that I had for Mr. Instance of this. Did anybody receive notice about the floodplain permit application that issue here?
Could you restate that, Mr. Richardson? It's fairly hard to hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Rick, did you or your office provide notice to any adjacent landowners who live adjacent to the property at issue in regards to the permit at issue?
That was done before my time as the floodplain administrator. This was done back in, I believe, January and February timeframe of 2013. I was not yet on board.
Do you know if notice was provided?
I do
to
not.
the adjacent landowners?
I do not.
Okay. Do you know that notice was provided to the community as a whole in the form of a legal advertisement?
Yes.
About the application?
Yes. I believe the publication date was February 25th or on or about that date.
I'm sorry, I didn't suppose about the 25th.
I'm sorry, sir. Say again, please.
I missed the part about the 25th. Are you saying that's the date of the notice?
I believe it was on or about the 25th of February of 2013.
Okay. How does the notice, the advertisement notice work in terms of the timeline? So, if somebody applies, then what happens?
Sir, again, all of this took place before I was a floodplain administrator, so I can't really speak to the...
Okay. So you have not reviewed the file to see how the notice ran for the elect?
I'm sorry, please repeat.
You have not reviewed the file. You saying you have no personal knowledge about how the notice would happen?
Other than what's in the actual file itself, sir. All the work that was actually done on that was done prior to my arrival.
Has Watershed Association ever submitted a previous appeal for this project?
When I took over as floodplain administrator, I know that there was some confusion between two separate permits, 13-103 and 13-123, in regards to the Markwest property. I know that appeals were placed for both 103 and 123.
Do you know why we're not hearing the appeal of 103?
Say again, sir, I apologize.
Well, do you know why we're not hearing the appeal of 103 right now?
I believe an appeal hearing was held on the issue of 103. I could be mistaken on that.
Okay, so you were the floodplain administrator at the time of that appeal hearing? Is that?
Mr. Richardson, it's extremely difficult to hear your words. They're muffled.
Yeah.
If you could just perhaps slow down.
Was he not the floodplain administrator when the appeal was heard of 103? Or was he the floodplain administrator?
Okay, the question is, were you the floodplain administrator during the appeal of 103?
I believe that was right at the point that I was being hired or directly after.
So is that I don't know, or?
I am not sure, sir.
Or it could go either way. I don't understand your answer, I'm sorry. Okay. So, you don't know if you were hired as the floodplain administrator when that deal was heard?
Sir, I'm not sure whether the appeal was directly after I was hired or right before I was hired. I honestly do not have that information in front of me right now.
Were you present at the appeal hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why that appeal was denied?
Off the top of my head, I do not, sir.
Okay. Do you remember if anybody said that the association was not an entity during that appeal?
I have no recollection of that, sir.
Okay. But it was the association who appealed?
That is correct.
And there was a hearing held?
I believe so, yes.
I'm going to object to this line of questioning. The prior appeal in 103 was heard under the old version of the current ordinance, which did not provide a definition for aggrieved party. Therefore, any testimony regarding the appeal from 103 is de facto irrelevant in this case. And I move to strike the entire line of questioning.
Sustained.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't really recall anything at this time. I'm good with it. I'll excuse the witness.
Okay. I guess it'd be cross-examination. Any cross-examination?
Just a couple follow-ups. Now, permit 123 was approved before you took over, is that correct?
I actually approved that.
Okay.
Right after I took over.
Are you aware of the definition of what adversely affected means under the current version of the floodplain ordinance? Okay. In your review of permit application 123, did you determine any properties were adversely affected by the proposed work under the permit? Thank you. No further questions.
For clarification, could you clarify his last response for the record, please?
For the record, the ordinance defines adversely affected property as such. To adversely affect a property, the increase in the elevation of the 100-year base flood elevation must be more than 1 foot at any point. Stated conversely, if the effect is that the 100-year base flood elevation rises 1 foot or less, the property is not affected. This standard does not apply to the floodway. If the permits have been approved in the same area of the floodplain, the above definition would include the cumulative impact of the base flood elevation.
I didn't mean it that way. I should have stopped you in reading that. Your question asked the witness whether he examined the documentation to determine whether any properties were adversely affected, and his response was no. And I don't think the record is clear whether he is responding that no, he didn't look at it, or no, there weren't any adversely affected.
I understand. Did you look at the hydraulic and hydrology report that was submitted as part of permit 123?
Yes, an independent contractor was also taken on by the county. The results of that study was that agreed with the Markwest provided study from their contractor that there was no adverse effect to the floodplain, and so the permit was approved on that, based on that basis.
Okay, thank you.
Any redirect?
Yeah, I just have two questions. Well, three questions. Do you understand the adversely affected or impacted definition? Do you understand what this standard does not apply to the floodway? Do you know what it means?
Sir, there is no floodway in this particular location. There is a floodplain, but there is not a FEMA identified floodway.
Okay. And you, in all your review of documents, did not see a floodway delineated as to the Markwest project?
No, sir. This is a small tributary stream, and via the West Virginia Flood Tool and FEMA firm maps, there is no floodway at this location, only a E-zone flood plain.
Is the entirety of the site in A zone?
On the backside of the property, away from the stream, there is a zone, an approximate A zone that has been established by FEMA. But again, there is no floodway within that area.
Do you know the definition of a floodway? And that's what I'm wrapping this up.
I can read that from the actual ordinance if you would like.
No, I was just if you personally did if I happened to read it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you please tell me what your understanding of a floodway is?
The floodway is the center channel stream of a, or central channel of a stream or river that takes the bulk of the water during any type of flooding event. It is identified separately from a floodplain.
Correct. Did you review any contractors' contracts when you made your determination to issue the permit at issue there?
I'm sorry, say it again, sir.
Did you review any contractors' contracts when you made your determination whether to grant or deny the permit at issue here?
I did not. I looked at the existing engineering studies and determined that there was no negative impact to the floodplain.
Okay. Do you know who is building the site at issue in the floodplain permit?
I would have to refer to the actual paperwork submitted by Markwest.
Are you aware of the requirement of the floodplain ordinance that you view contractors' contracts with the 14-day signing or else the permit is void?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So why is this permit not void?
Data was included with the original permit application, including the work to be done. And again, the base permit was granted on the process of the engineering studies and negative impact to the floodplain.
I would also move to strike this line of questioning. It was not notified as one of the bases for the appeal in this case. It's not only gone beyond the scope now of standing, but he's gone beyond the scope of the items noticed in the appeal.
Thing.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch it. So you're saying I exceeded standing and the noticed items in the appeal?
Yes. his explanation and his objection was not only did you go beyond the issue that's pending, which is legal standing, but you also went beyond the issues that were noticed in the appeal that was actually filed by the Doddridge County Watershed Association. Commissioner Sandora sustained that objection.
Okay.
It may be a question that's relevant later, depending on the ruling on standing, but at this point, it's hard to understand how that would be relevant on the issue of legal standing.
Well, if there's a void permit, there's no permit, and there's no need to have a conversation about standing. Right? He's just saying I haven't seen any contract during his review.
I would submit to you that that would be at the continued hearing, depending on the issue of standing.
Okay. Fair enough. I just wanted to put my objection out there. Mr. Sandora, what a question? I'm good with, and I think the new administrator resigned.
Okay, so you're excusing him for the purposes of his testimony in this limited legal standing issue.
So the legal standing I was good.
Okay.
Could I just recross here briefly?
Yeah.
Would you please read the definition of floodway?
Floodway is a channel of a river or other watercourse in the adjacent land area that must be reserved to discharge the base flood without increasing the water surface elevation of that flood more than 1 foot at any point.
Thank you.
Any further redirect, David?
Well, I mean, I'd love to ask him a couple of questions about the language in the ordinance about floodway, but
Well,
I know it's been a long day for you all.
well, no. Can you explain any relevancy to the legal standing issue with respect to those questions? If not, you can reserve them for later.
Well, I'm going back to the agreed party, the floodplain stand, or the 1 foot rule in adjacent property doesn't apply when you know what the flood was. And here we don't know about floodway because no floodway was delineated and they're possibly an ozone. And the water should have been because there's a project that's larger than 2 acres in there.
David, hasn't that been already discussed in testimony, and you're recycling that in the form of a position argument?
I would try.
Okay, just trying to move you along.
No, I hear you. It's late there. I'm done with this.
Okay, may the witness be excused for this purpose. Any other witnesses, Mr. Richardson?
I'd like to call Mr. Sandora and ask him one question. Well, 2 questions.
Mr. Sandora is currently the president, the sitting president of this judicial body, sitting as the Floodplain Appeals Board, and I respectfully request that you withdraw that request because Mr. Sandora is not testifying in this proceeding.
No, that's fair enough. Is there anyone else in the room associated with Doddridge County? Is Dan Wellings being touched?
Dan Wellings?
Yeah.
Dan Wellings, as far as I can see, is not in the room.
Okay. May I take 1 minute recess back to somebody one question? I only asked because I wasn't planning on calling them to testify and I don't want to ambush them, especially in a situation where I'm not physically there.
Okay, can we do that on the phone that you're connected to so we don't have to reconnect with you? Perhaps they could pick up. Who would you like to pick up the phone?
I'd like to speak to, well, I understand Ms. Long is there?
Ms. who?
I'm talking about
Laura?
Laura.
Laura Price. She is present in,
Sorry.
she is present in the room, and she has indicated.
I will testify.
She says she'll testify. Do you want to ask her a question privately, David?
Did she just say she's fine with testifying?
Yes, she said she's fine with testifying.
That's what I wanted to know. I just wasn't planning on telling her that I want to answer.
Would you come forward, Mrs. Price?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Please keep your voice up so you'll be recorded.
Okay.
Okay, she's ready.
Could you please state your name for the record?
My name is Laura, L-O-R-A, Price, P-R-I-C-E.
And do you know the project that is at issue in this appeal hearing?
I'm sorry, when I was back there, I could understand you fairly well.
His question is, do you live near the Markwest project that's at issue here?
I do. I live, I believe it's about a half a mile, maybe a little less, from the plant.
When you say a half mile, are you talking your house or your property line?
My house, my property line would be a good bit closer to that.
How much closer?
I'm sorry, I can't say.
Okay, fair enough, but closer than a half mile.
Yes, a half mile or less.
Did you receive any notice about the floodplain permit at issue there?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you have streams and creeks on your property that are connected to the property at issue here? In the floodplain permit?
Yes.
Which streams and creeks are they?
The stream that runs past my house is called Sugar Camp, and it feeds into, I believe it's called the West Fork, that feeds into Buckeye Run.
Have there been any changes to any of the creeks on your property since they started building project? There's an issue there.
We had a lot of silt sediment in Sugar Camp and in West Fork when the pipelines were being put in place.
Do you know more about the pipelines that are being put in place on the property that issue of this appeal?
If we could pull up a Google map, I could point to it. The pipeline goes between my property and the Markwest property, and it seems to form somewhat of a T out, like above the water, how the water drains. So I believe when the pipeline was going in, as they were crossing tributaries, that's when the silt and the sediment started to accumulate in Sugar Camp.
Okay. Do you know if this pipeline was part of the floodplain permit at issue here?
I don't believe it has anything to do with the floodplain permit. I don't know, but I don't believe so.
Did you receive any notice about any other floodplain permits related to the project at issue?
We've never received any notices about anything.
Okay. Has there been any impact besides silt? Have you experienced increased flooding at all?
No, not at this point. I have not.
So far it's limited to just sediments and silt and stuff like the lake going into the creek that traverses your property.
I'm sorry?
Would you have a question?
Any studies?
Yeah.
To do with the floodplain?
Sure.
No studies to do with the floodplain that I'm aware of.
And how long have you lived in the property?
How long? I have owned a piece of the property since 1984 and bought adjoining property in 95.
Do you know if there's any dirt placed in the creeks that run through your property on the side of Markwest?
I don't believe I can answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Do you feel like you've been harmed by the project next to you?
I have definitely been mentally stressed by the project next to me, yes.
Move to strike the answer as non-responsive to the issue of standing.
I thought appeal, well, let's hear what it's like, but I thought an appeal people have suffered harm. For purposes of the appeal standard.
For the purpose of the appeal for standing, I believe it's an adverse impact of property.
Sustained.
Okay, that's what we're looking at.
Sustained.
I guess I have no further questions as to standing for this witness. Thank you very much.
Any cross-examination of this witness?
Yes. You testified that you own property that's as close as, or possibly a little bit closer than a half mile to the project issue in this case?
That's what I believe it is. I mean, I've not walked it off or measured it, but yes.
Do you share any common borders with the Powell property and the property you own?
Not actually. There's some other properties in between us. It's not far, but it's not actual, touching of borders.
Do you know any of the property owners that own property between you and the Powell property?
Yes, I do. I know my neighbors.
And how many neighbors do you have that are in that area between your property and the property subject to permit 123?
I believe there's 2. I'm not sure that I'm correct. There may be more.
Does your property front at all on Buckeye Creek?
No.
And I think you said that there is one creek that runs through your property. Is that Sugar?
Sugar Camp is what I believe it's called.
Okay. And then that runs into another tributary, is that correct?
That's my understanding. I believe it does. I believe it runs into the West Fork that runs into Buckeye. I might be correct.
Does your property abut West Fork at all?
No.
Are you a member of the Doddridge County Watershed Association?
Yes.
Do you attend their meetings regularly?
I do not.
Do you know when the last meeting was that you attended?
I attend activities that happen on weekends, but as far as Thursday night meetings, I have a hard time getting from work back to Doddridge County in time.
Does the Doddridge County Water Association circulate a newsletter or any type of information for its members? Is there an email distribution list?
I don't know about that. There's a regularly updated Facebook page, so you can get lots of information there.
Do you follow that Facebook page?
When I have time to.
Would the notice of the application for permit 123 have been something that they would have posted to their Facebook page?
I don't know that.
But you had access to that website, correct?
Yes.
This is not the call. Please hang up and dial again. This is the call. Hang up and then dial your operator.
Phones turn off at 6.
Do the phones turn off at 6?
Yeah.
You still have the paper with his number?
Do you have?
Hey, we have limited resources.
We're trying.
Prime and area.
We'll take a break until
They know.
you want
How many more questions do you have?
just 2, maybe 3.
We're done. Okay.
Wherever investigated before this is the right time for it. This county is right. But then, of course, all the newspapers, radio, anybody who's in Europe, the Virginia Breakfast Association, you know, it's that HBO, HBO, we got it, it's like, it's so sad. And they can see that's what I was I never ever
Mariana, do you have a cell phone number?
That's what they have.
I wonder if he realizes he's been punished.
Oh, it's after.
Are you calling a BlackBerry, Shirley? Are you calling a cell phone?
I don't know what.
Yes, it's a cell phone. It is a cell phone. Here, try this other number.
You play your chat and scratch into his office.
This one, you dial me.
Hey, David? Hi. Yeah, we had trouble reaching you on our regular phone here. I'm going to see if I can put you on speakerphone on my cellular phone here and see if we can finish this particular witness. There's only appears to be a few more questions. So let me, that's all right. That's all right. We're trying to accommodate you. Well, I'm going to put you on speakerphone here and see if we can finish this witness, which may be the last witness in this part of the case. So let's do that. 1 minute. Okay, David, can you hear me? Okay, let me turn up the volume. I might have to access a 10-year-old to do this. No, I don't know anything about that. You know how to turn up the volume on the speakerphone?
You can hook it up to the speaker.
Is that an iPhone?
Yeah.
You can hook it up to the
2
speaker.
buttons on the side, plus and minus.
Okay.
Hit the plus button.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, David, can you hear me? Not real well, but we'll do our best. Okay, Jason, would you just be loud with your question? And ma'am, if you'll keep your voice up.
The property that you own is upstream of the property being developed by Markwest, correct?
Yes.
And it's your understanding that the sediment that you observed in your stream was a result of the installation of the pipeline?
Yes.
Have you seen any studies that show that the floodplain on your property has been adversely affected? And by adversely affected, I mean that the base flood elevation would rise more than 1 foot in a 100-year flood.
I have not seen any studies.
Have you looked in the file of the permit application that Markwest has submitted?
No.
If I were to represent to you that the hydrologic and hydrology study that was submitted by Markwest's engineers stated that the base flood elevation for your property was less than 1 foot, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
David, can you hear that? Yeah, I mean, basically, he asked two questions that are extremely relevant, I would believe. One is, was she aware of any hydrology studies that were done that speak to the issue of rise of the base flood level on her property? And she answered no, she was not aware of any such studies. And then the second question was, had she had an opportunity to review the hydrology studies submitted by Markwest, and whether or not those studies indicated any rise in the base flood level above a 1 foot level. And she answered that, and your answer, ma'am, was that you did not review the studies, correct? Okay, and that was the essence of the questions. Any questions, David? No further questions of this witness. May this witness be released for the process that we're here dealing with legal standing. Okay. Stanley only, you're relieved, ma'am. He thanks you. Are there any other witnesses to be called, David? Is the Markwest engineer here?
Which one?
Is there anyone here that completed the Markwest hydrology studies?
No, the engineers are not here.
The engineers are not here, according to Mr. Rector.
What was the request, please?
Yeah, the request was, does Markwest have a representative here that is familiar with the engineering study and the opinions that are attached to it?
I would move to strike the request as there's no relevance to any testimony that they're going to provide on the standing issue.
Okay. Well, I would say to you, David, that the hydrology study that was submitted by Markwest is part of the public file, and the rules allow for the Floodplain Appeals Board to adopt any piece of evidence in the file by judicial notice. Well, the problem is, I mean, do you know the name of a witness? I mean, conceivably you could issue a subpoena for someone in the courtroom, but just to call out loud, is there anyone else that wants to testify for me, is probably beyond the scope. I mean, there's a bunch of people in the courtroom that have blue shirts on, but I don't know who they are either. I don't know if they're engineers or accountants or some are interns. Okay. If you would, please, narrow your request. Give me your request, and I'll ask the Markwest attorneys if there's such a person available in the room. Tell me what you're looking for. Okay. Is there a representative present in the courtroom of Markwest that has knowledge of the contents of the hydrology floodplain study performed on behalf of Markwest or by Markwest and submitted as part of the permit application process?
Yeah, I would like. And I'd like to object to that. And first of all, as you just pointed out, as counsel for the appeals board, subject section 8.2A1 clearly provides that this appeal board may take judicial notice of all documents, writings, reports, drawings, photographs, and things properly filed in the official floodplain permit application file. I would so move that this body accept judicial notice of those matters In those matters will be all of the engineering reports and studies which have been submitted in connection with the floodplain permit application. We are clearly prepared and would be available, and I would proffer expert testimony of those engineers for live testimony if the need arises with regard to the substantive merits of this appeal. However, at this point, I believe that there's a threshold jurisdictional issue that this body must decide prior to moving forward with any kind of merits review, and that issue is what we have been taking testimony on, and that is whether or not the Doddridge County Watershed Association has standing to pursue an appeal. We obviously believe it does not. We can make our legal arguments, and I won't waste your time with lawyers' rhetoric to say that for another day, but the evidence is presented and is closed, and now to just randomly make a request, if there's any witness in the room who's willing to testify to the standing, is a fishing expedition. It's inappropriate. I'd object to it. But as I said, should the need arise and get to the merits stage of this proceeding, we are prepared to offer substantive testimony on that basis.
Sustained. Okay. That objection has been sustained, David. The Floodplain Appeals Board will take judicial notice of every document in the court, the permit application file, including all drawings, hydrology studies, etc. Well, the problem you have
is relying on to get their permit to show that they're not adversely impacting my client's members.
the problem with that, David, just on a basic trial advocacy standard, is that to call a witness, you need to have a name. None of these people in the courtroom have a duty to tell you their name. And to the extent that they do not want to forward their name to volunteer to be a witness, I can't force them to state a name. And I don't think the Floodplain Appeals Board can, and I don't think any court can. I think you would need to know a name, and you'd have to issue a subpoena to force them to provide testimony at the hearing. Which, unfortunately, if you were here, you might be able to accomplish, but you're... Right. Do you have any other witnesses? Okay, no other witnesses, so you've rested on the issue of legal standing. If you can come up with a name, I don't think the Floodplain Appeals Board has any obligation to force anyone present to state their name for you. We would be glad to give you time on your side to come up with a name if you could do it. Okay. CLC for, what was the company? Civil and Environmental Consultants, Inc. No one has raised their hand. PJ T. Give it to me again. Say it again. I can't. Can you give it to me as with a pilot, like T is in Tom, N is in Nancy. T is in Tom. G is in George. J is in jungle. Same engineer. No one is raising their hand. Okay, you're resting and calling no further witnesses on the issue of standing, correct?
Correct.
Does Markwest desire to call any witnesses on the issue of standing?
No, we're not calling witnesses.
Okay, the Floodplain Appeals Board will take a recess to go to the restroom. Yes. And do other things such as that, of a personal nature, and we'll reconvene with a decision on the legal issue of standing. It's now 10 minutes after 6 Eastern. Okay? Thank you. Oh, yeah, we do. Yes. Let me ask the question over here. Are you still on the phone with David?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll give you time. Okay.
We don't have a 740.
They're already talking. We will get your attorney on the phone here. We'll proceed with the hearing.
We're going to put you on speaker.
David, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Reconvene.
Okay. Dodge County Appeals Board reconvene. Go ahead, Mr. Richardson.
Just so the record's clear, after the recess was announced, there was a complaint from a person believed to be on your side of the fence of the Doddridge County Watershed Association that they were attempting to reach you during the process and couldn't contact you because you're on the phone with us. And the commission is going to entertain reopening the case if you so desire to put any further evidence in that you believe is necessary on the issue of legal standing, in fairness to the degree that we were complicated by distance and technology.
Well, I'd just like to thank the commission very much for the allowance there. And again, I do apologize for the inconvenience of me not being physically present there. If possible, and if he is present, I would like to call in Mr. Rob McHale.
He's not present.
He is not present in the courtroom.
Just left?
Was he present before the break?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that.
He was, but we dismissed him.
The answer was he was present, but he was dismissed during the recess before counsel for Markwest knew that the hearing would be reopened.
I understand. Is David Fitch, was he dismissed as well?
He was.
David Fitch was also dismissed.
Okay. Well, that kind of closes the whole door on reopening the evidence. Although I would like to ask one possibility. One of my witnesses testified as to a relatively irrelevant thing Markwest case, but my witness is worried that he did misunderstand the question. He's worried the answer will come back to Marvin later, hypothetically speaking, unrelated to this case.
Are you suggesting, David, are you suggesting as an officer of the court that you're attempting to correct testimony that might otherwise be incorrect?
Correct.
The appeals board would give you an opportunity to do that.
Mr. Woods did not understand the question as to financial responsibility when he was asked if he was financially responsible for the association. He is not financially responsible for the association.
Okay,
just want to make that clear.
The floodplain appeals board would accept your proffer of that testimony and the change there too. Any objection to that?
I would only then add that it appears that there is a complete lack of any evidence as to any person who is willing to accept financial responsibility or accountability for the Doddridge County Watershed Association.
That's two different things, isn't it?
Well, I mean, do I need to call another person and not say that they don't have expenses?
I didn't understand your question.
I mean, I object to that addition because the entire association isn't here.
Well,
it's a nonprofit. It's not like they make money over half of our funds.
Mr. Rector was not a witness. He was an attorney making a statement that is not evidence. It's an argument.
Yeah, but it's hard to hear it. It sounded like he was trying to add it to the record.
Well, it is on the record, but it is not sworn testimony.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure. I mean, the argument's fine, a fact. It is a fact.
Well, no, it's not sworn testimony. It will not be relied upon by the Floodplain Appeals Board. Sure. Any other additional witnesses or evidence?
No.
Okay. And do you now rest?
To the issue of standing, yes.
Okay. And any rebuttal by Markwest?
No, we rest.
Okay. Recess to executive session.
The appeals board move we go into executive session. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Executive session. 6:35. Can we shut him off here?
Call back.
David, we'll call you back.
Okay, we're back out of executive session, regular session.
Let's call Mr. Richardson on the phone.
Where's Mariana? Didn't know she was dismissed too.
Hi, David. We're getting ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear us? David?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. How does the Douglas County Floodplain Appeals Board vote as to whether the applicant, Douglas County Watershed Association, meets the agreed entity definition of the Douglas County Floodplain Ordinance? Yes or no?
No.
No. A written decision will be in a few days. Okay. I move we adjourn the special agenda meeting, and we'll take a 5-minute recess, and we will go into our regular scheduled meeting.